guided by your wisdom, but also thanks so much to the humanitarian support from Prime Minister Mansour Barzani, from Minister Raybar, the guidance from my friends, but I particularly will call out Hoshir Sabari and Fuad Hussein. I can say that on this question, the answer was always, politics has no place, it's a humanitarian matter, we're going to help you. They provided cars, they provided security, they gave permission. And so I can report that some 20 Yazidi mothers with maybe close to 30 children have been reunited. I've been able to do that. And unfortunately, and this is a real tragedy because they ought to be accepted back to their own community. It's not their fault that they were kidnapped. It's not their fault that they were raped and that they had children. And I really think the Yazidi community, for whom I have the greatest respect and admiration, I first went to Lalesh in 1991, and I've been many times, but they need to really rethink this issue because these are children and it is not their fault. There's a second category of people, of children that I want to speak to. Well, first, there are 60,000, 70,000 people in Al-Hol and Roj. Most of them are Iraqi, most of them are Syrian. There are local solutions for them, and I know that our friends here from the government in Baghdad as well as in Kurdistan are working on that. But there's a special category of about 10,000 foreigners who came, adults actually, there are about 4,000 adults left, who came from abroad to join the Islamic State. We thought at the end of the Islamic State, great martyrdom cult, they would all be killed, but no. About they surrendered to the Syrian Democratic Forces. They went to Al-Hol, and again, there are about 3,000 foreign women and about 7,000 foreign children, meaning not Iraqi, not Syrian. And they have been in the prison camps, and these are prisons, so they're called camps. That gives a wrong impression. They are prisons since 2019. Now, you can say that the adults, the mothers, they may belong to be in prison, but no child should be in prison. And what are the conditions in those prisons? The sanitation is unspeakable. There's no education. There's minimal health care. And a large percentage of the women in these camps still believe in the ISIS ideology, which means the children are being brought up in this hateful, nihilistic ideology. So what is the solution? Well, for 6 years, the international community has been saying countries should take back their citizens. Of course they should. But 6 years later, I think we can agree that they aren't going to do that. And so we need to think of a different solution. You cannot stop saying they should do something they're not going to do. And so what is that solution? In my opinion, you've got to make the very hard choice to remove the children from this unsafe, hateful environment and what to do with them. Well, I think there are three things. First, you could set up a system of foster care, either in northeast Syria or in Iraq, in which the international community provides small subsidies to families that take care of these children, that help raise them. Or you could do something that's your suggestion, set up children's villages in which there are adults that are taking care of these children, modeled on what was done in Austria and Germany after World War II, when there were thousands of unaccompanied children. When you do that, once you've removed the children from the camps and from their mothers, more countries are going to be willing to take back children, because the reason they won't take back the mothers and children is because they believe the mothers are a security threat, which in some cases, or many cases they are, but the children aren't. So you'll reduce significantly the supply of children. Now, this is a humanitarian thing for me, but it's also a security matter, because this is the next generation of Islamic State fighters. And let me say what happens if you don't remove the children. Well, about 13 or 14, the SDF remove the boys from the camps. They go for 4 years to rehabilitation centers, Huri centers. And after 4 years, at age 18, to adult prison with hardened ISIS fighters. What do you think's going to happen? That is, it sounds cruel to take the children from their mothers. But what is the alternative?
Can I only quickly ask you, because I know you're a big proponent of taking the kids out, etc., be it kids or be it others, how easy is it actually, or not, to get people out to work with the SDF and get people out? In my experience, they always say, come and pick them up, but then one tries to pick them up. They don't exactly make it easy. What is your experience?
It's taken a lot of discussion. They have become very cooperative on the issue of reuniting the children of Yazidi women. But I have great affection, I have admiration for what they've done. They did fight hard, they lost lots of lives. But they are also playing politics with the children. In particular, they want countries to come and request their citizens. I have no problem if it's an adult. But if a mother wants to send her children out, and there are some pending cases, and a family member is prepared to come, and the Minister Raybar, he has no problem. If a family member wants to come, he'll let the family member cross the border, bring the child back, and then it can go back. The truth is that a number of these countries have no intention of asking for anybody. But of course, so it's a game. And the answer is, if a family member wants to take a child, they should do that, and unfortunately, that is not their position.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to thank you for that question.
Oh, welcome.
And I'm not going to answer it.
Very good. Nedwa.
Because I want to come back and make a couple of points that are advice to the international community. First, I just want to, part of it is, don't be dictated to by the international human rights groups. In the case of these people who are detained in Syria, the advice is, well, you can't take children from their mothers without a judicial process. The effect of it is to keep the children in prison 6 years, and if they stay much longer, it's going to be life in prison. The second point I'd make is, to the international community on the same subject, is what I'm suggesting is very low cost. If you provide $100 a month per child, that's $8 million a year. Compare that to the cost of actually fighting terrorists. And finally, advice to the international community that comes from my own experience in the wars in the former Yugoslavia. Justice is key to a lasting peace. Now, what really is going on is a two-tier system of justice. If you're a Westerner and your country takes you back, then you go through a whole series of trials and you end up in a comfortable prison for a few years, if at all. The crimes were committed in Syria and Iraq, and they should be tried in Syria and Iraq. If an Iraqi commits a crime in the United States, he doesn't get sent back to Iraq. And there are plenty of laws that apply. After all, what ISIS did, yes, they were international crimes against humanity.
Peter, policy advice accepted, noted.
Now,
I personally would agree, but I'm still moving over to
the crimes were murder,
you must
rape,
allow
arson,
Nedwa to speak as
and those can be punished according to local law.
I agree, but Nedwa still has also a chance.